Mario Kart destroys relationships. The game is not okay. If you wanna have a divorce or destroy a family, play Mario Kart. It's done. Like, game is terrible. In 3, 2, and 1. Hey there, everybody. Welcome to the third episode of the Bro Tour, a Commander podcast. As always, I am here generally... Let me start this over. I fucked this up. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Bro Tour, an EDH podcast. As always, I'm your host, Sensei Lex. Today, I am thrilled to be joined by two awesome content creators. You can find them over on their YouTube channel, Affinity for Commander. Of course, there will always be links in the description below, because I'm here to help a brother out. They are Martin and Alex. They hail from Liverpool in the mighty UK. Apologies if I messed that word up. I don't know how you mess up Liverpool. It's a pretty simple word, but sometimes you do these things. They are absolutely wonderful content creators. Funny guys, great personalities. If you haven't checked out their channel, you need to do so immediately. If you love gameplay videos, they have gameplay videos. They do deck techs. They have Spilling the Tea, an episode that's basically a podcast format with MTG Mudsta of all people, who we would love to have on the Bro Tour at some point too. They have top 5 lists. They have anything you could possibly be looking for when it comes to Commander content. So go over there, check them out, and when you do so, let them know that the Commander Dojo sent you. And with that being said, I'd like to give my co-host here, Sloan. Mr. Sloan, introduce yourself to the people.
Of course, thank you. Welcome. Happy to have you guys and happy to be back for episode 3. Really excited. And especially to have such awesome guests with us. Quick question for you guys. This is a serious question that I need true professionals to hammer this down for me. What do you guys call French fries?
Chips.
It's chips. It's chips.
I actually differ. Like, if they're thick, I call them chips.
Or wedges.
No. So this is a chip. That's
okay.
If it's really thin, then I do call it a fry.
Okay.
Then I make those and I fry them.
Oh, that makes sense. Okay. And then what we would know is a cookie.
It's a biscuit.
Well,
it's a biscuit.
A biscuit.
If it's round and it's got like chocolate chips in it, it's a cookie. If it's like normally just a baked good, then it's a biscuit.
Interesting.
Okay.
So it has to have chocolate chips in it to qualify as a cookie. Or is there like if it had M&Ms, would it be a cookie or would it be a biscuit? Or like peanuts or something?
Yeah.
Like trick questions.
Well, it's like, if it was a cookie, like what was that cereal with the wolf on it? Cookie
Crisp.
Yeah, Cookie Crisp.
Like cartoonish image. If it looks like that, it's a cookie.
Okay.
If not, it's
okay.
Quality tasting Cookie Crisp, the part of a good breakfast that's got everyone howling.
Cookie Crisp, the one with the big chocolate chip cookie taste.
Okay.
That's my definition.
I have an opportunity to ask the correct party here, and I had to take it. I'm sorry. I wanted to know because I hear it sometimes, and I'm like, is that where do we draw the line? Where does a French fry? Where does this happen?
For future reference, color is also spelled with a U.
I have seen that before.
And
it feels correct.
Yeah, and then aluminum, aluminium. Is that how you?
Aluminium.
Yeah.
Yes.
What? So who's wrong here? Did the United States somewhere along the way? We haven't even adopted the metric system. We're practically in the Stone Age. So did we screw that up too? What did we do wrong here?
Like, America is less. I think it's just 340 years old. Off the top of my head, it's not like you guys are a very new country.
That's true.
We're babies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like the bank that we go to, the building is older than America.
Yeah.
We're very angry babies. Very angry babies.
If that isn't the truth.
No,
we're still learning. We're growing into our legs a little bit, getting our sea legs underneath us. You know.
So I hear, through the woodwork and through my hard hitting research, that you guys are very different Magic players. So we have Alex, who's more of the control player, kind of an isn't mage, and Martin, who's more so a Golgari mage, loves his creature-based aggro decks. How do you maintain a healthy relationship when your playstyles are so different, excuse me?
I think that that's probably the reason why it works. So I remember back to when I was teaching Alex how to play Magic, and it was with some M14, like the intro decks, the 30-card ones. And it was a point where I was teaching. We had one card. It was called Soul Mender. It's a 1-mana 1/1 that you can tap it to gain a life. And
It's a terrible card.
it's a terrible card, but it was just the point. I remember it very vividly where I told Alex he could do that in my turn, and ever since then he never wanted to do anything in his own turn. It was all in other people's turns, and that's how the Blue Mage was born in him.
Oh yeah, if I'm doing stuff in my turn and your turn, I get to play twice as much Magic.
It's true.
That's how you want to look
Yeah.
at it. But that's how it works. So if we open a box, for example, I get all the creatures and he gets all the non-creatures, and we're both happy. Whereas if we both had to fight over all the same cards, it'd be a bit of a nightmare.
I think it was like there was that. Was it M20? I feel like it was M21 where it was like Sublime Epiphany. I had that, and then you got the massive green dinosaur.
And everyone wins.
Everybody wins.
Although, to be honest, you've told me I'm not allowed to play certain decks. Like my Mythics of the Ismargus deck doesn't exist anymore because I'm not allowed to play it anymore.
It's like, what's it? Expropriate for like 2 mana.
Expropriate for 2 mana. Turn 5.
Yeah, that's very fair and balanced. Come on.
Yeah.
I'm not hearing the problem here.
Yeah. I mean, Martin, you could just totally change your entire playstyle and everything you love about Magic and just embrace the awful color that is blue and just start countering his things. Come on.
Well, even
I've got a couple of decks. Like I've got an Aloro deck and a Nekazar deck. Which are like, they're my meme decks that happen to contain blue.
Gotcha.
Even like in my Tulane or Omnath, you still say they're controlled decks.
Because they are.
Yeah.
Because they are. No, to be fair though, sometimes people are like, it's a control deck, and you run like one counter spell and a stasis and a winter orb. It's not a control deck at all. It's just fair and balanced Magic. It's totally fun for the whole family. It's just like just like Mario Kart. It builds healthy relationships.
Even in like when we used to play standard, like back in the good old days of Khans, like I played Jeskai control and you played Golgari midrange.
Sultai Whip.
Yeah, because you played Sidisi, Whip of Erebos, Tasiga.
They were the good days.
The good days.
Because it was either, do I hit you with Mantis Rider to win, or do you just constantly whip everything back that I've countered?
Yeah, I liked those days. Where you could play like 4-color deck easily and have no issue with mana.
That's why I play Commander.
Yeah.
So Martin, you're more of you said you like tribal decks, kind of unusual themes. Give yourself a unique flavor in the things that you build. What would you say are some of the most? Excuse my dog barking in the back here. Turtle, can you stop it, please? I love you. Not right now.
Well, I say to you.
Yes, I have a dog, and his name is Turtle, and don't judge me. He's a beautiful, wonderful creature. But a fan of unusual themes, tribal decks. Can you tell me about some of the most unusual decks that you have? What's some of the things you enjoy playing the most in that more unusual, strange realm of Magic?
Yeah, so I have an Unesh Cryosphinx Sovereign mono blue Sphinx deck.
Unesh Brothers.
Yeah, it's a cool deck. A lot of people kind of go, "Oh, he's 6 mana. He's not going to make that much value for what he's worth." And then you're just playing 7 Sphinxes a turn, and everyone's like, "Whoa!" And it's quite cool because it's a late game kind of creature deck, and it's blue, which is for me. I don't normally play blue, especially not mono blue. To have a creature-based blue deck just feels wrong and right in so many ways. So that's quite a cool one. I've got a Seton Crowswood Protector Druid deck, which I really enjoy. It's like an elf ball kind of deck, but with druids instead. And everyone just goes, "I never knew that was a druid. I always thought it was just a human or this or that." And that's quite a fun one. And I've got my Gashath Avatar Dinosaur deck. That's always great to just hit someone with Gashath and just empty your deck onto the table. It's great.
Yeah, Gashath is extremely powerful. Extremely powerful. And
And you're arcade.
as for you,
Oh,
Alex,
Hades.
Martin himself told me, now, he might be embellishing a little here, I'm not sure, but he says you like to be the arch enemy. You want to be the biggest threat on the table. And I have to ask, why are you so cool? You're a kindred spirit. I like to do the same thing, just make people suffer. Why are we like this?
I like that because it feels like even if I lose, I've done what I wanted to do.
Made enemies.
Yeah, because I'm not being the arch enemy. It's because what I'm doing is very, very good, and it's good. It feels good to do good things. Like it's very nice to build up a massive board state and then smack someone for 20. And even then, if I win, I win. If I don't win, I've still made it fun for everyone that they've taken down a big threat, and then they can skulk amongst themselves, and I can just shuffle back up laughing at the fact that it took 3 people to take me down.
I love it.
Interaction.
It's like you win even when you don't win. It took all of you children to get me. Come on.
Oh,
See,
yeah,
and that's why I play stacks. I get that same effect out of it because I'm like, even if you kill me
Boo.
and you knock me out of this game, even if I'm the first to go, I still won this game. I got to play my game. I got to do my thing. And then after that, I don't care what the end result is. I had fun while I was there.
I got to make this game a 2.5-hour affair. Oh, everybody had so much fun. Yeah.
I'm a big fan of long games. I'm sorry.
So
I can't help that.
now we have a segment we love to call the Magic Minute. I'll insert our fancy little jingle here because I'm the editor and that's what I do.
It's Magic Minute.
So, for the Magic Minute, we like to give everybody an opportunity to spend about a minute or so talking about something that's going on in their world of Magic. Maybe an interesting new deck they're brewing up, some interesting games they've played recently, new cards that have come out that have been spoiled, that have them really intrigued and being frisky and happy for new Magic that's happening. So, I want to start off with you, Sloan. Can you tell me what's going on in your world of Magic?
I have a very quick Magic Minute this week. On Wednesday, I got to celebrate my happiest of all the birthdays. And so Thursday, my playgroup came over, and I did not know this, but they all pitched in to buy me a box of Commander Legends. And as ridiculous as this might sound, I've actually never opened a box in my life. I have only ever bought singles, or I'll buy like a booster pack at my local Walmart or Target or wherever I might be. I just grab one off the shelf if I want to try something out of a new set. But for the most part, I have learned early, like if I want a card, just chase my singles. Don't try and go cracking packs. I have that super addictive personality where I won't stop. I'm just gonna keep going. And as much as I like that, I also really like my wife, and I like my house, and I like to sleep in my bed. And if she sees the bank account after I've had access to it, it's going to be bad. It's going to be real bad. So they brought over a box. I got to draft Commander Legends. Wow, that set is very interesting. If you are ever allowed to draft it, go for elves. I built an Arami of the Dead Tide, and it was terrible. It was a terrible deck. I built it so wrong. I was like, I figure if the graveyard's available, it's going to be great. I do not play a lot of recursion. I did not play recursion correctly there. I found that out very quickly as I watched everyone else play Magic, and I died. But it was fun nonetheless, and it was amazing of them to do. I'm a very, very blessed person to have had that opportunity, and I did pull a Jeweled Lotus. I was very, very excited.
Congrats on the pulls. Jeweled Lotus, which is a controversial card. I personally think it's fine. I've played against it a few times now. It's very good. It's powerful. Don't get me wrong. I don't think it's format warping or anything like that. But, congrats on the pulls. It's steadily going up in price. Not that we're like some finance gurus or anything like that. But, last time I checked, it's around 90 USD, which is pretty pricey for a lot of people out there. I know $90 for a piece of cardboard is quite a bit. Did you get any other good pulls aside from the Lotus?
I did. I also pulled a Commander's Plate, a Wheel of Misfortune, Jessica's Will, which was one I was very excited to throw into my Rurik Thar deck. And then I also scored a Hull Breacher. I was very excited to see that one. I was like, oh, there it is. There it is.
A card that's fun for everyone, Hole Reacher. Brings families together.
Urza immediately got way better.
Oh boy.
Just one box, and Urza became elevated, and I was like, yay.
I can't wait to play against your Urza here very soon. I'm so excited, in case you can't tell. But what about you, Martin? What's been going on in your world of Magic?
Yeah, well, mine's kind of like a two-parter one, so I might steal it because if he's, I don't know what he's thought of because he hasn't told me. But we've got with the Time Spiral Remastered reprints being all like the newer cards and older frames. I've got a few friends who are very excited about being able to have their commanders in like a cool old-looking style and getting really hyped about that. And I think some of the reprints for it are fantastic. They're going to make cards that were previously inaccessible a lot easier for people to get hold of, which is always great. I hate having a barrier to playing being there's only a limited amount of these cards, therefore it's super expensive. So I think it's any sort of reprints like that are fantastic. And the other half is that we have another friend who hasn't really played Commander in a while. He's had a bit of a rest from it whilst playing other formats, and he's recently got back into it. And seeing how enthusiastic he is and asking us for cards to put into his Dragon deck and what new stuff's come out since he's left, and seeing how happy he is. And he's so excited to play this, but we're still in quarantine here. It's our quarantine year anniversary at some point this week. Mm-hmm. So just knowing that as soon as quarantine's over, we're going to have a huge meetup and actually play this with this guy and his new deck, and how excited he's going to be for it. It's cool to see that people get so happy to be having social interactions over Magic, which is what I've been missing a lot about lockdown, is not being able to meet people and face-to-face Magic with them. It's not the same online.
Yeah, it's nice playing online, but you don't get that look of dread in someone's eyes when you counter their commander.
You don't get to see the light die in their eyes.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. The only thing that I've been really enjoying recently is that, as Martin will attest to, we have two very different styles of making decks. Martin, his decks are his children. He'll make them, he'll tune them up over and over and over again, but they're his decks. Like this wall of decks behind us, about 70% of them are Martin's.
Keep them forever.
Yeah. I, however, have about 8 decks, and I'll then pick up a deck and go, you. And I will tear it apart and then make something else. Or if there's a new commander that I've just thought, oh, you're amazing. There's a lot of cards in other decks that you need to be in. Tear apart them. You're what I like right now. I'm very much.
You're fickle with your commanders.
I am very fickle. You're right. I've got a few what I call my evergreen commanders, like the Scorpion God.
Well, yeah, because where are you going to put all those
exactly.
cards?
Right. My evergreen commanders are the ones where the cards in them are so niche that no other deck's going to want the -1/-1 counters from Scorpion, but unless I build a Patra or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, that. So currently, I've been loving playing with Yorn and Asika, the Bridge God, because we played some games with them with Jolt, and they're just
They are like I thought Yorn's untappability was like whatever.
You highly underrated it,
and then it turns out it's really good having double mana.
Having double mana is actually super good.
Well, I just thought he's a 3/3 or a 3/2 or
he's
something.
A 3/3.
So if you attack once, people are going to block it and kill it. But then I kind of underestimated that it takes a few turns for people to get going. So whilst it's up to kind of turn 3 or 4, there's usually someone who's got a weaker thing you can attack, and then you just get the extra value of an extra untapped step, and it gets out of hand very quickly. So yeah, I will admit I was wrong with that one.
So then where would we put, if we were to put your guys' accents in perspective of demographic, if we're looking at it on a map, did you guys grow up close enough to each other that it would be similar, or is it still far enough away?
No, you grew up in...
I grew up in like the Midlands, and Alex was like the North Midlands.
Yeah, I was up northeast.
But it's more, it's less really about accents and more about words and phrases. Like where I'm from, they say duck a lot, and everything's "Hey up, duck, how are you?" Like and things like that. And it's like, frankly, it's not a particularly nice accent to have when you're speaking like on a on the television or on this.
No.
Right,
So
right.
I kind of actively lost that for the sake of people understanding me. And from I don't know what phrase on where you're from, is it?
Well, no. Primarily, like we would have an accent called Geordie, which is some people find it very coaxing and very nice and pleasant to hear over the phone. But
It's quite softly spoken,
yeah,
isn't it? Like,
but no, my mother came from a very well-to-do household and made sure, in her own words, that their children spoke properly.
Okay.
Which also, they use that joke with you, is that I don't have an accent. These
just
is just what words sound like when they're pronounced properly.
and like because we both live in an area that's not where we're from, like it's you kind of absorb things from around you very quickly.
You still say certain words incorrectly.
Incorrectly.
Correct.
What's the date you have every year after your first day of your birth? What's that called?
Oh, right. So I say birthday rather than birthday, like he wants, but it's stuff like cook and book. It's cook and book where I'm from. So like it's
You cook something while you have a book, while you're running a bath, while having some glass.
Okay, so I have to settle a debate, and I need your guys' help since we're on the topic of properly pronouncing words. My wife, she debates with me all the time. I say lawyer, she says lawyer. Who's right here?
I would say lawyer.
I would say lawyer.
Lawyer. Yeah, it's lawyer.
Thank you. I've been saying this for almost 10 years now, and the woman just so stubborn. It's lawyer.
Like, is your wife from the south by any chance?
No, she's not from the South. We currently are living in the South, though, so we found ourselves picking up like y'all and like those.
Yeah, that drawl that you get with the accent, and it goes down. Yeah.
See, that's the difference between us. Alex used to go to America quite often with his family, whereas I've never been to America. So, like, I think he knows more about like the cultural differences between the two countries, whereas I'm just kind of like a bit naive to it.
Yeah.
So,
What's gas in America?
well, like petrol.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, see, like I'm from Idaho, and apparently Idaho we have a very specific accent, which is something I've never noticed. And I didn't notice that until I went to Oregon, which is just a state over and right on the ocean. And when we went over there and my wife and I were honeymooning and stuff, people would ask us, "Oh, where are you from? Your accent's strange." I'm like, "My accent?" Yeah. I'm like, "I feel like I've got the most generic white guy voice you could possibly have. What do you mean accent?"
Yeah.
And they would explain words that I was saying or the way that I would articulate certain things. They're like, it's almost like you're missing pronunciation at certain points.
Yeah.
It's like, it's so weird. I don't even notice it.
Yeah.
No cultural checks.
Well, that's like with us, we can get from like the north to the south of our country in maybe 4 or 5 hours driving.
Yeah.
So I think obviously you've got states where you can't even get from one end to the other end in that time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I think our differences and accents and things are closer together geographically.
Yeah.
So you get more of them in a shorter space.
What happens when you've been invaded and reconquered and distributed 5 times in a century?
Yeah, for us, like for me to get south from here, it's about a 2-3 day trip. It'd take about 3 days. Yeah. So if I wanted to get from here down to the very, very tip of, I guess, right underneath that would be Arizona. If I wanted to go all the way down to Arizona, that would take me 2 days.
Oof.
You
Yeah.
get to Egypt in 2 days. Jesus.
Yeah. No.
You get to Egypt in 2 days.
I
You
had
just
the.
drove purely solely and got the ferry. Yeah, I think so.
Are you sure about that? This seems quite a distance, Alex. I think the
You went
geography
you from Plymouth down the side of Portugal and then just took the ferry down, like directly straight down.
I would say you're probably worth checking that because I think that's a bit of an optimistic way of
No, I have
That
to
is
say.
so-
Let's Google.
I had the opportunity to live in Germany for a few years, and travel in Europe, Western Europe, because I haven't been to Eastern Europe, so I'm not particularly sure there. But it was so smooth. You can get like flights 13 euros, 12 euros to go from one country to another. It was so convenient. It was so nice. There's nothing like that in the state. If you in the United States, if you want to fly from one state to another, it's several $100s, and it's just a mess.
For me to fly to California, which is only one state over and then down. That costed how much was that for my ticket? And I was in a really bad seat. I did not buy a very expensive ticket. That costs $275 one way. So
Oof.
altogether it was like 550.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Well, our flights to Prague were what, 90 quid each?
Yeah, that was return.
That's
That
not
was
bad.
return.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm getting robbed over here.
No, shout out to Ryan
I'm
Air,
moving.
sponsor the channel. But they have these. I mean, you're sitting in the worst seats imaginable, and you can only basically bring like a tiny bag with the barely like a backpack sized bag, pretty much. But the flights are incredibly cheap. It was ridiculous. My wife went to Madrid, and the flight cost her literally 12 euros for a round trip flight. I was like, how in the world? How are
For a
you making a
round
profit
trip?
off of these? Yes, it was crazy.
Because the planes are made of cardboard and sellotape.
Yeah, pretty much. It's just a duct taped piece of plastic flying through the air. Please don't explode.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you guys for indulging me in some of these things. Like I always want to be a culturally advanced person. I want to learn as much as I possibly can about the rest of the world, because the world is such a big, massive place, and that's a big reason. Kind of to go into the whole concept behind the Bro Tour, the world is a really, really big place, and 2020 made it a lot bigger, and it also made it a lot smaller. And so we kind of saw the opportunity to bring as many people in this community together as possible. And we really were like, okay, do we want to, we tried this once. It was years ago. We did not have the equipment we have now. Technology wasn't quite there yet for us. And we were like, okay, when we get the opportunity, we got to do this. And 2020 gave us that opportunity. So thank you guys for at least indulging some of this stuff and allowing us an opportunity to reach out to other people, and honestly, just to educate other people as well as ourselves. In my case, myself, I've never left the States, and it's one of my biggest dreams is to be able to go through Europe and eventually make my way through and make it over to Asia. I would even like to see Russia, because it would remind me of home, because it's really cold here.
We're going to Japan for my 30th.
Yeah, it's a few years away. Well, as long as we are able to at that point, then.
Yeah.
Been Prague.
Yeah,
I'll go to Germany.
we've only been one place together.
Yeah.
That was when we got engaged. We did have one planned for last year, but
But
it didn't happen, did it?
Yeah.
If you are going through Europe, you can give France a miss. You don't need to go to France.
That's a bit rude. See,
Hey,
Alex doesn't like France.
I spent a few days in Paris. It was interesting. We got swept up
You
in
were
a
there at a really bad time.
yeah, we got swept up in a riot. It was great. We're just walking through downtown, headed to the Eiffel Tower, and then this huge crowd of people just floods the streets, and then the SWAT team rolls in, and I was like, what is going on right now? I'm sure France is normally a pretty decent place. We just had a bad day there. But we were like, you could hear riot police in the background firing off rounds of like the rubber bullets and stuff off into the air to spook people, and it was crazy. Protesters like throwing bottles and fruit, and I was like, what is happening? It makes for a great memory though. It was like, whoa, we got to be a part of something pretty epic and also really dangerous. But yeah, we did make it to the Eiffel Tower, so we survived the riot and we got to our destination, and it all ended up being okay after all. But it made for a very, very strange time.
Back into the main meat and potatoes of our topic today on underrated cards. So I think before Lex and I give our pieces here, I'd love to hear from you guys. What are your underrated cards, and where do you think they fit very, very well?
Okay, I need to bring them up because I screenshotted these knowing I'd need them later, and I would probably not remember them word for word. So
That's okay.
my first card is Masako the Humorless, who is a 3-mana 2/1 legendary human advisor who says you may play at instant speed, so Flash, before Flash existed, And taps creatures you control may block as though they were untapped. So it's kind of similar to giving your creatures vigilance, but I think slightly better. Because you can have your mana dorks like your Elvish Mystics and your Llanowar Elves. You can tap them to add mana. They can still be useful and block. So she doesn't see much play, especially being able to flash her in as well. You can say, "Oh, my creatures are blocked. They can't do anything." Flash, they can now block. And I run her in my Arcades and Strategist wall deck because I just think it's really funny having a big 7/7 wall that can block even when it's attacked. There's just little things like that. You got to make do with the best of what you can get because that's good. All tribal deck's not the most powerful thing ever. But I think she's criminally underplayed. I think she's much better than people think she is.
Would you say you find that funny, which is so underplayed?
What set is she out of?
It's one of the Kamigawa ones.
That's why no one knows about it.
I was gonna say.
Yeah.
Gate one. I don't know what you call it. What do you call the gates, Alex?
What, the key gates?
Is it key gates?
That's what they're actually called.
Okay, yeah, it's the symbol's that.
Yeah.
One of the Kamigawa.
Wow, because when you're describing Flash, but basically the Oracle text of Flash, I was like, how old is this card?
Yeah.
But she hasn't been errated, so you can give her Flash as well.
Oh, very spicy.
Why not?
You could do it just to do it and be like, yeah, double Flash.
Just so you have the option of how to put her into play at instant speed.
Exactly.
I love it. I love it.
My second card is Tribal Force Mage, who's a 1 and a green for a 1/1 elf wizard. So it's a green wizard, first of all. That's a bit weird. It's got Morph, and when it's turned face up, creatures of the type of your choice get +2/+2 and trample until the end of turn. Ooh. So I use this in my Druid Tribal deck, even though he's not a Druid, because you put a Morph card down and everyone goes, that's going to be a Den Protector, that's going to be scary, and they usually waste their removal on just a 1/1 elf. It's like, okay, if you want to do that, do that. If they don't do it, you can flip it up at any time and give all your druids +2/+2. Either you're attacking and you need a little bit of a boost, or maybe someone's cast give all creatures -1/-1. You don't want your board wiped. It's it's quite it's a unique little card. It's probably not the best in the world, but I just think it's funny.
Something else as well. I just realised it doesn't say that you control.
It doesn't. I don't know if it's been errated or not because this one's from an older set than Kamigawa. It's the old border. I don't even know what that symbol is.
But if it hasn't, then if someone's playing like a Merfolk Tribal and they swing, it's like, oh, it's not that much damage. Flip up. Your Merfolk are now huge.
Yeah, there you go. You can bait big plays and politic with it. That's neat.
Yeah.
No, I've played Tribal Force Mage before. Once upon a time, I had a Jund deck with Sequar Deathkeeper. It turns the Graveborns that he can create into 5/3s instead of 3/1s with haste. It's pretty nice. I liked it anyway.
Yeah, that is cool. And my final card is Ether Spouts, which is 5 mana, 3 and a blue for an instant. For each attacking creature, its owner puts it on the top or bottom of his or her library. I put this on because I used it in a game we had last week against Alex, where he had... What deck were you playing?
Guy Red.
And attacked me, and seeing I had some mana rope, but it wasn't 7, so it wasn't enough Cyclonic Rift, and then it was 5, so I tapped out and played this and made him put his tokens either on top or bottom of his library, so they just ceased to exist. And then the rest of us proceeded to kill him very quickly because that was terrifying. So
I had 16 rhinos in play. They're endangered, Martin. Look what you've done.
They're endangered. Just a casual 16 rhinos, no big deal.
Could have saved the species.
I just had you dead to rights and you responded. How dare you?
Yeah, it's just a cheaper version of Psych Rift, but you can do it to yourself if you attack and then someone does something like, say you send all your board at someone and they do a little trick that causes your board to die. You can put them on top of your library to play them again. It's got a few different uses. I think it's just got a place in my heart from against Alex. I mean, but why else would you have a reason than it annoys your partner?
Wow. Mine. I'll go with the worst one to get out of the way. Worst being subjective is Tainted Strike, a 1 black mana instant that gives a target creature, does that be one you control, +1/+0 and infect.
Oh yeah.
Until the end of.
Yes.
You and your effects.
Infect is a brilliant mechanic because it essentially says your life total is 10. So any creature that has 9 power, that's almost like, I need this up to block the next. I'll just take the 9. No, you'll die. Do you have a response? No. Shame. You're on your creatures, like you're playing Corvold, you got a big dragon that you can hit them with, fair enough. Or even if you're playing any cards that have like proliferate, like I have it in my Scorpion God deck, because he runs a lot of proliferate for the -1/-1 count. It's like, I'll give you a casual 7 infect damage and I'll just proliferate up. It's 1 mana as well. I love it.
Yeah, 1 mana is a silly amount.
Could have been worse.
Yeah, it's a brutal
That's
card.
true.
I hate to admit it, but I've been combat tricked by that card a couple of times, and it does not feel good. And they're like, "And now you're dead." Oh, cool, fun.
Oh, that was fun.
Yeah. My other card is a Planeswalker who is very close to my heart, just because we did a lore video on her, and I know a lot about her, and I just really like the card design that she always has, which is Vivian, Champion of the Wild. So she's 2 generic, 1 green, so she's very cheap. She has that static ability of you may cast creatures as though they had flash. So you're playing like a heavy creature deck that's 3 mana Vidal Canori, which is pretty good. +1, until your next turn, a creature you control has Vigilance and Reach. So that's pretty good. Attack, and then you can block everything. And finally, a -2, you can look at the top 3 cards of your library, exile 1 face down, put the rest on the bottom in any order. As long as it remains exile, you may look at it and then cast it if it's a creature. And you can cast it on flash, because that's what she does.
Yeah, and she comes in with 4 loyalty as well for 3 mana.
Yeah, exactly. 4 loyalty, 3 mana, +1. You play any things that you want with flash.
She's safe for a bit.
Yeah, she's great early game, because you can -2 and get a bit of value off it if no one else has anything out. And then late game, I've got all this mana open. I've got 8 mana, 3 mana, play Vivian, 5 mana to hold up for my flashing in creatures. Say, would you dare attack into me with this 5 mana open?
That's awesome. I need to get that in Rurk Thar.
Yeah.
That is killer.
She is great. And also, I love the art. The art's great.
Yeah, the art is really cool with her like drawing that bow back, her arc bow. Man, yeah, it's very, very neat.
And the last one for me, which is a card that I love massively, not just because it won me a game with Heliod, is Faith's Reward, which is 3 generic mana, 1 white for an instant, with return to the battlefield all permanents in your graveyard that were put there from the battlefield this turn.
It's just annoying because you board wipe him and you're like, right, we're safe for a bit, and then he goes, actually no, I'm going to make it so it's a one-sided board wipe against you, not me.
One-sided board wipe. Get all the ETBs back, so it's not like Defense Protection where things just like are there.
Yeah.
But I remember when we did that. Well, I had a Solemn trigger come back in. I had all my Soul Sisters see all the creatures come out, so they'll gain me loads of life again.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah, like for 4 mana to just go in white. No.
Yeah, that's so hard to come by those effects, especially in white. And speaking of great art, the art on Faith's Reward is really neat too, with that figure driving the sword down. Like, oh man, it's cool.
Like even with a little bit of flavor, like it's a reward you get for having faith that you'll survive through that terrible board wipe. I love it. That's me.
Wins low across the board. What about you, Sloan? What underrated cards are you rocking with today?
So I chose. We'll start with a little bit of spice here. A little something for the wheelers and dealers out there. I chose for my first card Molten Psyche. It is 1 red for a sorcery. Each player shuffles the cards from his or her hand into his or her library, then draws that many cards. But it also has a second ability of Metalcraft. If you control 3 or more artifacts, it also deals damage to each opponent equal to the number of cards that player has drawn this turn. So overall, that turn. Now, if you can double wheel in 1 turn, so let's say you hit a Windfall, and then you can hit a Molten Psyche.
That's a lot of damage.
That's a spice. That's a spicy.
Necosaurus pleased.
Yes. So I actually chose a few different commanders that I think that I don't see it represented as much, but I think it definitely should be. Nekusar is the number one. I was like, how is this not in more Nekusar lists? Your Niv Mizzets will be happy. Locust Gods, Xyrus, the Writhing Storm.
Yeah.
So looking at one of the guys in my play group who plays Xyrus, get this in there.
Yeah.
or don't. It's fine. And then Braylon and Shabraz, I think, would be another really good commander for it as well. I think the wheels essentially have gone up so much in cost, like in actual like monetary cost.
Yeah.
This one is dirt cheap. I mean, it's only a couple bucks. So if you have the ability, grab this guy.
Wait, you mean Wheel of Fortune is unaffordable for most people? Come on.
No, I mean, if you want to sell your car, you'll be all right. You should be able to pick it up.
It's okay, they reprinted it as Wheel of Misfortune now, which is totally just as good, right?
Yeah, totally.
Just as good. All right, for my second card, I chose Benefactor's Drought. It is 1 and a green for an instant, and this card is the MVP in big creature decks. Untap all creatures until the end of turn. Whenever a creature an opponent controls blocks, draw a card and then draw a card. So the very first deck that I saw that I was like, ooh, this would be perfect in, it just happens to be a Setten deck. It's perfect for it. You could throw this into like a Savala deck, Yasan, Azuri Renegade Leader, and then of course the new Lathril.
Yep.
But then again, it's kind of on the piggyback. I think a Setten deck would be the most interesting to see it in, because you're watching Druids draw a bunch of cards and you're like, what just happened? Who am I playing? What is this? Mono green? Like, oh, I love it.
Oh yeah, there's nothing better than being able to go tap out all my creatures to float a load of mana, pay 2 to untap them, tap them all again, and then Genesis Wave for like 50 because you've got the mana
so
for it.
good.
Oh,
You can do you can do like
That's-
ambush blocks and stuff too. Oh, you thought I was wide open, but little did you know I have Benefactor's Drought.
little did you know. Because they'll see you with 2 mana and they'll be like, oh, heroic intervention, it'll be fine. And then they're like, wait, hold on, what? And then for my final card, I chose a lovely stacks piece, Hokori Dust Drinker. He is too generic. Whoa, hey. Hey, stacks never hurt nobody. It literally did nothing. It just sits there. He is too generic and too white for a legendary creature. He is a spirit. So think about that as you don't let it hate. He'll haunt you. He'll come back to haunt you. If you haven't seen the art on it, it's absolutely terrifying too. I love it. Lands don't untap during their controller's untap step, but on the upside, at the beginning of each player's upkeep, that player untaps a land he or she controls. So it's basically Winter Orb on a creature.
Yeah.
He is legendary, so you could make him a commander. Being someone who plays stacks, I highly, highly, highly ask that you do not make a mono white stacks deck. It can be done. It's just not going to be very effective. And at that point, you're literally doing what all people hate out of stacks. You're going to waste the table's time because you're not going to have a lot of ways to break parity there or win. So you're just going to be sitting there going, got you, and watching everybody waste their time. But great for like Brago decks. Captain Sase would be a really good one. Gaddock Teague, Grand Arbiter, Augustin, always fun. And then a weird one I thought of was Anafenza the Foremost. I remember, Lex, you built an Anafenza the Foremost, basically stacks build a while ago.
Yeah.
I mean, many, many, many moons ago. And I thought like, ooh, that would be really, really good in a build like that.
I have a special hatred of Anafenza because I'm a big Sidisi player. She just goes, no triggers, bye. And
And Anafenza is that surprisingly effective hate bearer. She's not really efficiently costed, being a white, a green, and a black, but when you get her out and anybody's playing graveyard-based strategies, she becomes an instant. Like, we have to deal with her. She has to die. It's too much. But no, as for me, I got 3 cards of my own. Excuse me here while I pick up my notes that I dropped. Not my notes. So, for me, there's thrash around and make a lot of noise. My first card is a colorless land. So in theory, you can put this card in virtually every deck. I've been finding myself using it a lot. I personally have 3 monocolored decks, and this card is in all 3 of them. I have a mono blue, a mono red, and a mono black, because Grixis is my favorite color scheme, because I'm a scumbag, and so I built monocolored decks of each of those colors. And Scavenger Grounds is a land that is... You can tap it for a colorless. It enters untapped, so you don't have to worry about that. It doesn't slow you down. And you can pay 2 generic mana and then sacrifice Scavenger Grounds, or sacrifice any desert, but Scavenger Grounds itself is a desert, so you typically sack it. And exile all cards from all graveyards. Now, I love this card for a few reasons, but most specifically, it's very difficult to interact with. People need like stifle effects and things of that nature to counteract it. So it's very, very solid piece of interaction. It's also something you don't see a lot, and so people tend to underestimate it or just outright forget about it. I can't even count the number of times people just forget that I have it on the field, and then they go to cast a reanimate or, some big, like, trying to think of the spell with Liliana. She reanimates every creature from every graveyard and throws it onto the battlefield. Any big effects like that, living death, stuff of that nature, you just boom, bye, they don't exist anymore at instant speed. You can also cheat it into play with effects like crop rotation or like Elvish Reclaimer, so you can instant speed hate people's graveyards, which is unique and also extremely powerful, because now you have a trick at your disposal that just gives you one more option in the toolbox. For anybody who's used like a Rakdos Charm or anything in decks like that, sometimes that instant speed interaction with graveyards is absolutely brutal. You just straight up devastate people or take people out of games by taking away their graveyard at times.
To the Golgari and all mono black graveyard players, I'm really sorry.
And Alex plays Muldrotha a lot, so any sort of thing that stops her bringing back several cards a turn, there's a bonus in my book.
There is something to be said for that, though, because I'm having pre-release flashbacks. You do have to crack the desert before they cast certain things. Like with Muldrotha, if I go, I'm going to cast this creature...
It's already been
cast. Yeah. Best time to do it, someone's upkeep.
Yeah. So casting stuff from the graveyard removes it from the graveyard.
Exactly,
so
It was actually Scavenger Grounds, actually. When we were at the Amon Kept pre-release, I was reanimating... I can see it, the 3 mana, when it deals combat damage, they discard a card for its power. I was embalming him, and someone in response went, Scavenger Grounds, and I was like...
It still comes back.
It still comes back. He's like, no, it doesn't. We had to get 2 different level 2 judges over to explain yesterday.
Oh, no. Yeah, that's always that awkward moment in those situations where somebody's yelling, "Judge!" and you sit there, like, trying not to stare at each other awkwardly. We're going to figure this out. That's one of the benefits of Commander is everybody's their own judge, so you just get your phones out and we're going to figure out this rule together, Like,
so when someone says, that's not how it works in Monopoly, and you have to get the Monopoly rules, I'm like...
We're lucky that where we are, we've got a really high concentration of judges. There's like 10 judges around us.
I'm fairly confident in our actual play group, me, you, and a friend of ours, who you were talking about earlier,
are the only
non-judges.
Yeah, but it's great when you call somebody like, "Oh, come over here a second, can you tell us how this works?" And then they look at the cards and go, "Well, this card was printed in 1994, and this one was printed last week, so we don't have the rules for it. So I don't really know how that's gonna work." So,
oh god, that is great.
It's just great going, "George, I've broken the game again."
Yeah.
Okay.
No, that's so convenient. I wish we had any judges in Sloan and I's respective play groups. We are all wannabe judges. If there's any minor rules discrepancy, well, let's pause this game for 15 minutes while we sort out what we're supposed to do, or like refer to like an Ask a Judge forum somewhere and see if we can get an expert opinion. It's like a show, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? You phone a friend to figure out what the hell you're supposed to do. Like, how do we play Magic? It's great.
We had a good the other week. We had a go the other week where a player attacked and he had the Quietus Spike on, which is when it hits half the opponent's life total. So it had first strike, so he attacked with it. But they needed one more mana, didn't they? They needed one more mana to give it double strike. So they hit with first strike damage, gained a treasure from an ability, and then gave it double strike. So you could hit with regular strike afterwards, and it took us a while. It actually works. Like you can do that.
There is a moment between first strike and double strike regular damage where you can interact and cast things.
So
interesting.
They didn't win the game. They got close.
Yeah,
it was just a case of
weird.
I never would have thought you could first strike, then double strike, and do the regular damage.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I said,
wow.
I thought that was like damage going on the stack nonsense.
Well, yeah.
Apparently you can.
Oh my goodness, yeah. No, I would figure once the first strike had already been dealt, that's damage. Damage is complete. You're heading out of the damage phase and into basically post combat. Wow, that's crazy.
I can already see a hater in the comment section right now. How did you not know that, guys? I've known this. I was born with that knowledge, you scrubs.
Why aren't you content creators smarter than me?
Yeah, I built a deck that exclusively plays between the first strike and double strike instances. Like, there's always that one person.
If that is a real deck, I have to play against this deck. I don't care if you mop the floor with me. I need to see this.
I remember my first deck I ever built was Fenach's God of Deception, like big bucks, which just mill people out. And it always got me that it's like the first kind of like higher ruling bit was that you can hold priority, and that where I can tap, say, right, I'm milling you with this creature. But then I've got a card that untaps it and gives it +2/+2. So before you get the toughness, which is the amount of cards you need to mill, I can increase the toughness, and then you mill the new amount. And that was kind of the first of my exploring into the whole, you can do things to change things that have already happened. And then since then, it's just like, there's too many different scary things.
I saw you becoming that, the meme guy was like...
Yeah, the big brain explosion.
Yeah.
No,
the intense enlightenment.
Yeah. Shout out to Tim and Eric about awesome show, great job, by the way, which is where that meme originates. If you're into absurd humor, check it out. It's pretty strange.
Thank you, Tim and Eric. You gave us Dr. Stephen Brule.
I know, Dr. Steve Brule. But for my second card, I picked a green instant speed spell, 5 mana, 2 green, 3 generic. It is called Shared Summons. So Shared Summons reads, as I refer to my notes, search your library for up to 2 creatures with different names, reveal them, put them into your hand. At the moment of this recording, this card is under $2. I don't think that will last very long. I don't see it being insanely expensive or anything, but I think the value of this card monetarily will easily be over $5 in short order, for any of you speculators out there. It's a very powerful effect. Typically, green decks are going to have an excess of mana, and if you get to a state where you've run out of things to do, this is a card that gets you right back into the game. If you have 2 creatures that combo together, like, say, Kiki-Jiki and, 10 million things that combo with Kiki-Jiki, you can go search them up right away, put them both into your hand. If you have 2 value creatures to help you get back in the game, like Elvish Visionary to draw you cards or Eternal Witness to go grab something out of your graveyard, you can go get those. If you're playing creatures like Spellseeker, whatever you happen to be doing, you can go get these, whatever pair of creatures you need, exactly when you need it. It's really nice too having the instant speed utility, so you're not waiting sorcery speed on your turn, clunky, playing into people's counter magic, trying to get it off. You can time it right to play around people's effects, who are trying to maybe steal your searches and stuff. We've got all sorts of new cards now that steal people's searches and stuff from them, so it gives you the ability to play around those effects. It's a card that I've personally been using more in the green decks that I play. I'm not much of a green mage. I won't lie to people out there. It's one of my least favorite colors. Green and white has progressively become pretty low on my list, but when I get this card, I like it. This is an effect that I really dig in green.
It reminds me of like a Jared's Orders, or what's the Liliana one, where it's a final parting, where it's like put 2 cards into your graveyard, or 1 to graveyard, 1 to your hand. Yeah. It reminds me a lot of that, but like if you're not playing a graveyard deck, it's better because you've got both in your hand. Like, that's like really strong.
Instant speed. It's like, get 2 cards different names. Like, so in Commander, that's a double search. Got it.
Yeah. So in your end step before my turn, I'm going to go search for like the cards that are going to win me the game in my turn. That is good.
If I'm playing black and green, it's like, I'm going to go search for Macias and Triskelion. Cool.
It's more like green doesn't really have much in terms of tutoring, does it? Really, it's got worldly tutor for a creature, but like this is like instant speed. Two tutors. That's really good.
Yeah, instant speed double tutors, very good.
Yeah, the only other thing they have to those effects, you have like your Eldritch Evolution, and you have things like Sylvan Tutor that put cards on top, but this is mechanically unique for a green tutor spell, and really, really powerful.
Yeah, all the greens choose is like, what's the enchantment where it's a crocodile? Where it's like going around, evolutionary...
Oh,
enchantment.
Evolutionary Leap?
No, evolutionary leap's
that's
the
it.
birthing point enchantment. What is it? It's the enchantment. It's a crocodile that, when the creature is enchanted dies, you search the library for another creature.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
It's an aura. It says when a creature dies, search the library for a creature.
Okay, yeah. I'm tracking the card. I can't remember the name of it, but yeah, I feel what you're talking.
Yeah, I run that in my Merrin deck because it's great. Because it's like I want my things to die, and then I'm going to get the better. Cause you just bring a creature back; it doesn't have any restrictions, so it's like I'm just going to bring out this like 12 mana creature. Because
that's spicy, especially with Marin. Oh, that's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
super
wake
good.
Up at 3 a.m. thinking about the name of that card.
No, is it Pattern of Rebirth? Is that what you're thinking?
Yes.
Yeah, there we go.
That's the one.
Now, I had like in the old days of the internet, like, dial up my brain, like trying to connect. What is this card? Finally figuring it out. My mind's all foggy. I'm getting old. What is happening to my life? But no, for my last card, blue has become my favorite color. I know I'm a terrible person. Please don't judge me. But this spell I have been packing into everything blue lately, and I have seen very, very good results from it. It's a card called Misdirection. So Misdirection is a 5-mana instant speed spell that reads, you may exile a blue card from your hand instead of playing Misdirection's mana cost. Change the target of a single target spell with any target. So a little convoluted for those who are not really familiar with those sort of deflecting SWAT kind of effects. But essentially, if somebody goes to counter a spell, you can, for free, at the price of exiling a blue card from your hand, similar to Force of Will, you can change the target of their counter spell or their removal spell to Misdirection, or let's say they're targeting one of your creatures, you can change it to one of their creatures. So they cast a Putrefy, and you make them blow up their own creature or their own artifact with that spell. It's very efficient. There's also cards like extra turn spells. Target player takes an extra turn. Now I take that extra turn instead. There's a lot of neat effects for it, and the utility to have it be free makes it difficult for people to play around, because even when you're tapped all the way out, I myself have an Unesh Sphinx's deck too. Shout out to Unesh, he's totally badass. Even when I'm tapped out and I have Unesh on the board and people are like, oh, you have no mana, you just spent 6 on Unesh, he's vulnerable. No, he's not vulnerable at all. I love those effects that catch people off guard and make it so people are always scared. Even when you have like nothing to do, people are questioning if they should go after your things or not. So yeah, I've enjoyed that card heavily. It's become a staple for anything blue I'm doing.
I totally want to get one for my Unesh deck now, so that's going to happen.
Do it.
Yeah, we have one.
It's going in my Unesh deck.
There you go. I catalog all the cards.
Yeah.
So.
It's not this card isn't underrated, but I'd also recommend it for Unesh. Commandeer. Commandeer is a little more expensive. It's around 15 USD, but that card is also ridiculous. You can exile 2 blue cards from your hand instead of paying its cost, and you steal a spell off the stack and you just get the spell. So if they cast an enchantment, it's now your enchantment. If they cast a creature, it's now your creature. Like, you can just do some belligerent things with that card. That's another one that I love. I wouldn't say that card's underrated, though. It's a pretty common card for a lot of people. They know about it. It's more well known. But Misdirection definitely, I would say, is underappreciated and underplayed.
I think the one cool thing that I've seen from all of us is that it seems like not only are these cards maybe some of them are more known or wherever they might be coming from, but I think the really cool thing that I've seen is that we know exactly where to slot them, and every single one is completely degenerate. They are all absolutely terrible. I love it. I absolutely love it.
Well, that's what you want to do, isn't it? You want to be the person who, when you play a spell, everyone else at the table goes, "Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I feel that on a spiritual level. I want to be like, oh, hate me, come on, feed me, hate.
your hate sustains me."
I am fueled by your hatred.
Yeah, very like Sith Lord emo kid style. I need the hatred in my life. Oh, it's so good. But affinity for Commander, Martin and Alex, you guys have an absolutely wonderful thing going on your YouTube channel right now. I have been following your content for the 3 years you have been online now. Shout out to myself. I was subscribed to you early. Like, you had maybe 200 subscribers at the time. It's been so cool and so unique to watch your channel grow over time. Please keep doing what you're doing. Don't stop. Keep making videos. I know you guys are approaching 10,000 subscribers, which is a huge mile mark, and I want to give you an early congratulations. That is, it's so cool. And keep up the good work. Keep making those gameplay videos. And next time you're gonna collaborate and have somebody do some gameplay, invite your boy on. I want to be a part of this. Okay, I can sip tea and play spells and stuff too. Okay. I exist, okay? Love me.
We're going to have both of you on. That'd be amazing.
Yes, that would be
That'd
so
be
cool.
awesome. Absolutely. One thing I wanted to point out too, I noticed a community post from, I believe it was November of last year, where I thought it was really, not only was it bold, but it was incredibly awesome of you guys to do this. But I saw that you took the time to write out a new schedule for your uploads and for your workload. And you guys actually took an extra week off just to really focus on yourselves and to have the time for your relationship. I want to say that was unbelievable. When I saw that, I was like, these guys get it. They understand what this is all about. It was a long haul move rather than short-term burst move. It's, a lot of the times it's easy to sit down and burn your brain out over the course of 6-8 months of just like pumping out content. But to look at it and go, okay, what is the longevity and what can we do that is going to sustain us overall? That was amazing. And I just want to say huge shout out to you guys for doing that. Jump over, and if you jump over to their community tab, you can actually see a lot of the things they post, a lot of funny things, also some great conversations. Jump over there, check that out, and you'll wind up coming across that. But I want to say, like, that's where it's at right there.
Absolutely.
Big thing for you guys.
Absolutely.
Amazing.
Yeah, we both have quite intense jobs, I think. And
Yeah.
it's like when you're trying to balance God, making magic content, having a job, having a social life, still trying to keep in some relative shape, and still maintain a healthy relationship. It's like being the dog where everything's on fire. This is fine.
This is fine.
That's it. And like, I think we've carried on now. We are doing 4 videos a month at this current time. And it's kind of a case of like, if we need to go back down to 3 because we feel we need it, we'll do it. And at the end of the day, we enjoy making content.
Yeah.
We don't want to get to the point where it becomes a chore and becomes like effort and work, because it's just not worth that point.
Like back then when we posted that, we couldn't do 4 videos a month because we just upgraded to new software. We just changed things around, and we're still getting to grips with it. Like the videos we can do a video much quicker, but to the same standard that we used to, just because we've gotten better at. Like,
and there's 2 offers, which helps, so we can both do a video at the same time, and then
we are. I just want to people realize we are not tech people.
No,
before starting YouTube, we never touched a camera, microphone, Adobe, anything.
I'm an animal person, and you're a teaching kind of person. So like, it's like technology. What?
Yeah, any or video. Like, put it this way, like. The video quality you have now, which is very nice, like all that color correcting, I've learned that through watching YouTube videos. So I've never had a course or anything. Right, neither were you.
No, that's it.
Yeah.
I mean, we go back and watch our older videos, and it's like, ooh,
Oh, you,
let's just
you,
put that over there out of the way.
you do. I can't. I know I can't watch my old videos. I know if I watch videos, I just.
Yeah, I don't know if people quite realize how so many of the content creators that they watch, they're not professionals. These aren't people who went to university or anything for film editing or anything like that. We're just consuming the Google machine's information and trying to figure out what the hell to do. And we're all sort of amateurly trying to make it work the best that we can. I've learned so much in the last couple of months about so many things with OBS and configuring settings and like just stuff that I'm like, it makes me feel smart and kind of big brained sometimes, but at the same time, I'm like, this stuff is so basic. Like, it's super basic, and I feel bad I never knew this in the first place. It's like a monkey figuring out how to scrape two rocks together and make a spark. I'm like, oh, I did a thing. We're getting there slowly but surely. And I really appreciate you guys coming on today. It's been great.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing I say, like, students sometimes, like, it's easy if you know how to do it. If you've been to university to do film editing, it's probably very easy for you.
Yeah.
If you've been, like, we did, what was that? Originally we used Audacity and, what was it, Shotcut?
Oh, yeah, Shotcut was a lovely free-bit kit that if you're getting started with, it's great.
It works.
But it used to crash every 15 minutes, so you're just there going, save. It was oh my gosh, those were not good days.
Those were the days.
You've been doing it for an hour and forgot to save, and I just deletes it itself and just stand in despair.
Thank you for having us on.
It's been wonderful, thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you guys.
Yeah, it's been an absolute privilege having you on. Stay on your grind, and you're welcome in the dojo anytime. Thank you for coming and hanging out for a little while on the Bro Tour and hanging out with Sloan and I. We greatly, greatly appreciate you guys being here today.
Thank you very much. And we'll definitely have you on for a gameplay video at some point soon, so we can unesh it out. But then Stax is just Stax is gonna die first.
Okay. To be fair, if you bring me on, I would probably bring out the first sliver. I'll keep my stacks. I'll keep my stacks for the right environment.
It's
now,
not much
if you
better, though, is it? Let's be honest. Slivers and stacks like both up there.
What? What are you talking about?
It's very friendly magic.
It's very friendly. Okay, look, they're not the prettiest things, but I have learned that they are still creatures and they still matter.
What was it? Fair and fun magic as Richard Garfield intended.
Yes, Richard Garfield, PhD. Shout out. Come on the podcast, please. I would love to talk to you. But he's too busy, like, creating games
Alex
and stuff. But
he's out making them stacks. But
Yeah.
Alex and Martin, thank you guys again. Thank you guys so much for everything. We appreciate you guys.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, and
we're English. We're not good at compliments.
no, it's okay. If you're from the UK, I understand. A lot of people don't have feelings. You hold it all inside. It's okay. Americans express themselves too much. Oh my God, I'm so loud and excited all the time. It's great. But with all that being said, ladies and gentlemen, wizards and witches of the universe, it has been an absolute joy bringing this to you today. It's been an absolute privilege having Alex and Martin on, and as always, my co-host Sloan. And with all of that being said, I would like to sign out with the typical stay safe, stay classy, and I, and Sloan, and everybody else, and whoever we have on next on the podcast, we'll see you next time.